Hello, hello, hello. Once again, we meet in this platform, and today I want to indulge you on the issues affecting our young people, the youths. I've heard about issues relating to teenage pregnancy, and it got me thinking about what other issues could be there that could be affecting young people. I know some people have given their own inputs in matters relating to the youths, but this is my approach to it. I want us to think about the young people not in terms of their problems, but in terms of the possible solutions that we could provide so that there is a better future that awaits them. So first and foremost, I want us to try to analyze the youth environment. And in my view, the youth environment is the families where they live, their immediate families. Another environment for the youth is the churches. Another environment could be the government. The other environment for the youth is the technology, the space of technology, and the business fraternity. Everything that's around, every person that's around the lives of the youths become their environment. Begin with the analysis of the youth environment with regard to their families. Youths have families, and then some of these families are all different. Some families are struggling. I will begin with those families who are even struggling to raise bread, to bring food to the table. Those families that may be living in urban settlements, informal settlements, and struggling daily. The youths are exposed to those realities of struggle. And sometimes, because there is no communication and dialogue in some of these families, the youths are exposed to start developing imaginations about what could be, how to create alternative, better spaces for themselves. There are those families that actually struggle even to raise the school fees for their young people, and they are all in the youths come into the families, and then you find that these struggles, the youths are exposed to some of these painful struggles. They watch their parents stressed up, thinking about how do we pay for the house rent? How do we get our next meal? How do we do what and do what? And some of these realities are so hard. They hit the young people in their respective home so hard that it gets them thinking about why. It gets them comparing why is our family is this and that other family is like that. It gets them thinking. The only thing is that sometimes they don't get solution to some of these problems. The other issue is that some of our families is struggling with their relationships and so many things, that the husband and the wife are in constant war and struggles, that the husband and wife, who is the mother and father of this young person, they are in constant war and all those things. And then there is no dialogue that explains to these young people about why is mother and father not in good terms with each other, and the mother don't reach out to the young people in order to tell them, hey, my son or my daughter, me and my father, we are struggling about something, and I don't want this particular issue to get into your nerves. We will sort it out. We are trying our best in order to sort it out. Or father reaching out to the son or the daughter and tell them about why or what is the cause. In the Africa traditional society, young people, Even the uncles will just come in and intervene, take the young person for a walk, and then try to explain to them that some of these things they got to happen. Whenever a relationship happens, sometimes relationships are not built on roses. Sometimes they are thorns that prick it. Sometimes we got to start explaining. We got a lot of explanation to do, but then there is never a forum for family dialogue. I will try to propose that as a solution to some of these crises that we got to go through. But what I know is that whenever there is a rift between the father and the mother, the youths in the families are equally affected. They are affected in ways that are so immense. And then the problem is that since nobody explains to them what is happening, they have to try to imagine for themselves what is it that is happening and all those things. And I would say that this is something that will worth consideration. That if there will be dialogue in the family, that these people are just set aside and explained to some of these issues, that will be very helpful. Now the COVID forced the young person in the house, forced the husband in the family, and forced the mother in the family, and then there is maybe no dialogue. Everybody could be, of course, the phone provided a good, I don't know whether it's a solution or an scapegoat for everybody who is in shit. The youth withdraws with their phones at some corner. The husband takes into their online platform where they get safe spaces, and the mother takes into the mobile phone, and everybody else is in their own space and in their own world. There is no family unit as such. There is no talking. There is no dialogue, and so many other things. And I'm very sure this one extremely affects the young people. Some of these young people, the family in which they live in, are exposed to a lot of luxuries. They live vegetative life. That the child is exposed to so much luxury that in the name of love, that the child wakes up at 11 and then stays in the house, in the couch, watching one series after another and go to sleep. I wonder how that life would be even possible. And then the consequences of inactivity. When the body is so much inactive, then it's exposed to a lot of health conditions. And then you start developing things like obesity, high blood pressure, I don't know, all sorts of health conditions that are not actually good. That the child is not even exposed to exercises that will make their body active enough, because when the body is active, when the body is healthy, then the mind is healthy too. When we give so much to our kids, then we kill even their own creativity. They cannot think about anything productive because they have everything else at their disposals. So whenever you are giving your kids everything in the name of love, also think about you paralyzing, you making their mental capacity very inactive and useless, making their bodies inactive and useless. Then it is you who will be the one to take care of the health of these kids when this situation gets so worse. So whenever you're planning to expose your kid into a lot of luxuries, I wish we could think twice about what are some of those possible, what could I do. I'm not against giving luxury, but give luxury knowing very well that you sweated to bring that into being, and you don't want your child to develop a capacity to bring something forth. Life is about the power of creation. When you're able to create something with your mental capacity, when you're able to create something with your body, when you're able to develop those talents, those achievements that you make, they make life worth living. But when you give your kid everything else that they want, and then they have paralyzed mental capacity, they have paralyzed body, they have paralyzed network, you're actually making them more inhuman than they should actually be. Another crisis that I would think that our young people are exposed to is relationships, and some of these relationships are created out of our failure to address some of the family issues that you are struggling. You've turned your house into a small hell for your child, and your child is not seeking relationship outside the family as a positive thing, but seeking it as a way to run away from you. So much so that you will look for your child the whole day and you will never find them, because they are enjoying the comfort zones with their friends and relations. That the value that you have filled as a parent to inculcate in your kid, they are going to seek it somewhere else. So, or I'm not against the relationship, but I'm like, what inspires the relationship? Am I relating with the other person? Let's talk about boy-girl relationship as a way to seek comfort or solace, as a way to actually fill gaps that exist in my family. Like, I find warmth with this person more than I can find warmth in my own home. So these relationships, they come, right? And sometimes they happen, and they can have a lot of aftermaths. Some of the effects of relations, like whatever is happening now, is where we will talk about teenage pregnancy, trying to experiment and stuff. And because you, as a parent, as is not having a dialogue with your child, the child goes out and then starts to do and experiment on things that you never talked about, and then comes back with the side effect of the things that you never addressed. Then it becomes another burden to you as the parent. So whenever it is, whatever it is, you need to create a forum in which you can have a conversation around anything. Whenever you sense something about what is going on, I have this friend, and there is create an environment in which we can always have a conversation over everything. Don't turn your house into a prison where anybody who raises their voice actually raises it at their own peril, at their own destruction. So then it becomes a very crazy problem that we start to look for alternative safe spaces outside our homes, because our homes are become spaces that are a threat to our very own life. When your home start becoming a place where you perceive as a threat to your own life, you will start running away. And some of these relations that we create expose us to other realities, like the drugs. Like, I try to look for other friends, I try to look for other safe spaces in the name of friends, and these friends have particular personalities and orientations. They have adapted to the environment so differently. Some of them have resorted to alcoholism, some of them have resorted to abuse of drugs and other things. And then me, I've run away from home only to get into a bigger shit than the one that I left behind. Like, I get into weed, I get into alcohol, and then everything else. You continue doing it until you are extremely addicted to it, and you cannot run away from it. I was like, teenage pregnancy is just the tip of an iceberg. Like, it is only a small reality out of the big reality of young people in their respective environments. And one of them that is also connected to relationship is those early marriages, that either the home is extremely unbearable, somebody finds solace with somebody else, or let's talk about, you make some girl pregnant at early age, and then you are forced to take responsibility over it. Then what is it? What kind of family are we creating? That we create a family because you run into family because you ran away from your own, and then your family becomes a problem, and you don't know how to solve that problem because your parents never taught you how to address or deal with those problems. So one of those things, never run into starting a family without a plan, without purpose, without a strategy, because it's a big thing. It will surprise you, because having a family is having the capacity to be able to deal with shit that comes with it. Is to be able to talk about things that will make it more meaningful. Is to be able to mature enough to create enough network so that it can be economically stable. It can make mature decisions. That it can be able to create a productive network, so that your family is both an investment and also a meaningful entity for you. So one of those big things is then what is that this environment, which is the family for the young people, is, until that environment is good enough, until there is a conversation, until there is a space, a continuous dialogue to create safe space within those families, there is always going to be runaway. I will make another analogy with, because we have not, the governments of Africa have not made Africa good. So many people, Africans, run away from Africa because they want to look for better opportunities outside. Because we have not made our families a place of production, a place of dialogue, a place of investment, a place of innovation, a place of good health. Those families, the people in those families will always take off to run away into other families that they believe are far much better, are more innovative, are more productive, are warmer, and all those things. So one of those things that I want to give us as a take home is that we may be able to rethink about our families, and to be able to restructure those families, and to be able to create spaces of dialogue, in order to create dialogue aimed at enhancing the safe spaces within our very respective homes. The next environment that I would want to address is the churches. Some of these young people have run away from it into churches. They've run into churches because, I mean, it's they meet other young people, they share in their experiences, and more so they're able to meet the God that created them, and in doing so they're also connected to other people who can have a conversation with them, have a chat with them, tell them about their experiences, and they feel great about different people that they have to interact with as they try to will the course of their life. And then now there's also another thing to it, that whenever they meet into these other social spaces outside their homes, there is always something else. Now they meet other people, and these other people are not the same. You meet another girl who has a hairstyle of 5,000, and yet your mother cannot even afford a 20 shillings hairstyle. You meet people with different fashions in these groups, and then you automatically feel discriminated. You are labeled as poor because you are not like in the same class with these same people that you meet. How do they deal with it, and who prepares them to deal with these differences in the society? How do they know? Why would they want to say that now we are poor and the rest of the people in the communities are not as good, are much better than us? They meet people in these social gatherings that, I mean, they want to propose activities like, let's go out, let's go for a hike, and all those things. And then you get back to your mother, who cannot even afford the money to support you to go to places like hike. And then what happens? You're stranded again. You're left thinking again about, hey, why me? Why did I have to be born in this family? Did I even apply for my birth, and all those things? But then such questions would be addressed if there would be dialogue in the family. Then the parents will be able to tell their children that this family of ours is this unique. No families in the world. If God were to create every family the same, God would be a stupid person. But he created every family different, and every single family have their wealth of their own. Some have material wealth, some have other wealths. Even as much as you may not be able to afford a financial thing, you may be able to offer advice, some value that can save a life of somebody else. This will be addressed if there was a dialogue in the families. So the dialogue will begin in the family, and this dialogue can be escalated in the different churches. And all those people who take leadership in the churches, we need to take special position in the lives of the young people. It's not just about preaching to them about God. Make them productive, make them innovative, make them think, make them more appreciative of who they are and all those things. But unfortunately, some of these churches where you expose the young people to them become terror in their lives. What I'm thinking is, these spaces, the church as a space should be able to be a place where these young people become more innovative. I see the other kid, another young person, creating something very good. It leaves me thinking about what do I have that I can create. They tell you about, I'm investing in chicken, and then you think about, can I also invest in rabbit or something else within my own capacity? Unfortunately, some of these places, like the church spaces, are places where we don't just go to talk about substantive thing. You go to idol, you go to gossip, you go to do other things. But if it will be a forum where we can share about our successes and our achievements, which then it could be like a space that inspires creativity, a space that inspires innovation, a space that inspires productivity in the minds of the young people. That this boy is so talented, that this girl is so talented, will leave me thinking that I have my own talent, and how much can I be able to grow that talent, to nurture that talent, to develop it for the better. So that would be a great space. Another environment where these young people are in is the government. And right now I'm talking about the young people, especially those who are in post-school, mostly who have searched for jobs and they have failed to get the jobs. They have resorted to border and stuff. And sometimes I think that the government, in as much as they have a key responsibility in the life of young people, they do very little. Actually, you might find that they steal from the very young people that are supposed to help to grow their talents and their innovation. You realize you've heard about a lot of scandals around youth money and all those things in the past, and those other factors that have not been addressed. The county governors would ask for bigger budget in the name of we wish to intervene in the life of young people, only to put that in their pocket. So we're talking about a government that is either concerned or not concerned at all. And if the government should be concerned, then they will be able to come up with practical interventions that are aimed at improving the production of young people, in practical interventions that will be able to improve the innovativeness of young people, practical interventions that will be able to improve the health of young people and the talents of the young people. So, but you look at it, even on our roads, you find that a border person struggling every day in order to get some money in order to invest or to raise a small family. But then the same police working for the government, we understand that they are struggling. They're the same place that still demand bribe even from a border. Even in the African traditional understanding, this will not be the case. Like, how would you want to reap from a young person, yet you sowed nothing on that person, and he doesn't have nothing, and then you still have to drain him of the little that he has? You, as a parent, as a police parent who's supposed to be supportive and all those things, should be able to put them into the right course, help them to wheel the course of their life on the right road. So my thinking is that this is a crazy environment for the young people, and anything is possible around it. Another crazy environment that has become as a result of globalization is the technology. Technology has become like I don't know. It's like, I mean, a phone. It's an environment. It's something that the lives of young people are exposed to, and the way it has been used by young people is not very right. It's been abused. Like, you wouldn't you use technology not for creating content, but instead of, you are there watching content. Like, let's say you stay in the house watching content that has been created by somebody else, like the whole day you are on a video on stuff. Why can't you also why can't that screen, the 72 inches screen, inspire you to create, to say that I also want to be watched? When you watch America Got Talent, why can't that a particular situation help you to start thinking about, how can I also fit into that space? How can I be part of the content that people watch? Those things. Like, you take a phone and chat the whole day. Smart people say that business is time is money. You waste your 12 hours, 24 hours, the whole day, whole month, the whole year, always chatting on the phone, discussing nasty and crazy things, rather than think about the phone, what space you're holding in your hand that you could be able to do. Like what I'm doing now. You hold the whole world into your hand. You could empower yourself through that same handset you're calling. You could be able to create content and help people to watch through the same handset that you're holding. I mean, technology is a space that we have not used productively. If we were able to use technology productively, then we will be able to produce. You will be able to produce content rather than watch content. So I think about technology as, okay, fine, the child runs away from home, doesn't find comfort in the church, then resort into what? Into online movies and all those things, online comedies and all those things, that you spend all your time watching, chatting, and all those things without doing anything productive. The question that you should ask yourself as a young person is, for every 12 hours that God gives you, what new thing are you bringing forth? With all the possible spaces that you have, the farming is a space that is so big that you could do so amazing and magnanimous things around it. You have the rabbit, you have the chicken, you have the cows, the goats, you have everything else that you could initiate. The chicken, with very, very small capital, you will be able to do magic in the spaces of farming. You could do a lot of things with technology. You could even do farming. You improve the value of farming with the simple handset that you are holding. So ask yourself, with your own talent, you will be able to surprise the world. So I would think that during this time of the pandemic, young people takes time to think about your talents and then try to improve it, try to make it more manifest. Like me, during this period, I'm a fan of Shotokan. I love fighting. And I was like, during this period when I'm at home, what would I be able, what would I be doing? And then I started thinking about, hey man, I could use the internet, fine. I can watch some of these skills, fighting skills, and then I want to improve them. Then I have been doing that, and right now I can tell you I can fight better, and my skills, fighting skills, is more refined. I've done other things with my time, something more very purposeful, something planned, something very strategic with my life. And right now I can tell you that I have something to show. I don't want you to meet your friends and your family and you have nothing for show. You should be able to show something. A friend of mine showed me their dancing crew, and then I was so happy that you are doing something good with your time. But it's not just about dancing. Somebody told me about the video that they were able to create. You become a producer at young age. Nobody said that everything else, like, you has to wait until you're done with your university or college. Some of these things you could be running them hand in hand. You should be able to be an entrepreneur even before you get into high school. Having your own chicken, having your own stuff, managing your own stuff, so that when your employers will be asking you for your experience, you can tell them that I have 20 years experience in livestock production, in chicken production, in poultry, and all those other things. These things should not wait. Talent should not wait. These are things you don't have to develop because you are in school. Talent is a God-given thing. Please take your time and enhance, nurture that talent that you have. Take your time and become an entrepreneur already. I will use another clip one day to just talk about entrepreneurship. But I'm thinking about that entrepreneurship should not wait. This is what I think the church should come in and help young people develop their entrepreneurial skill. That the family should be able to do that. I mean that these are some of the skills you can even interact with online, that you can be able to have produce to become more productive online. What I'm thinking is, I've already started providing solution to some of the things I listed as crises that are affecting the young people. And what I'm thinking is lacking more so in our families, in young people, and in government, is there is lack of purpose in the life of young people. Purposeful life is extremely lacking. And that is why I was able to compare. Some parents are raising questions as to, when the youth were in school they were safer, and when they are now at home some of them have become pregnant and all those other things. But then it is not about school or home, it's about the purpose. When they are in school they have a purpose, they have something that they are busy with. But when they are at home, I think the parents miss the mark, that instead of engaging their young people with something very productive and purposeful, they didn't know what to do. And the pandemic created such a crisis in families, because apart from bringing young people into the homes, it left parents thinking, how am I going to feed these people? But there was a bigger question too, what am I going to do with them? Because the parents have never thought about a situation in which they are with the youths and they are doing nothing. Most of the time, it is always the young people come from school when the school closes, and then they wait to go to school. They do nothing during that period. Time wasted. During the period when they are at home, they always do nothing.